whoever said that having your own firewood, cutting, using your trees for firewood was cheap, was wrong. We're now paying a third time for the wood to be processed, which is ridiculous. I think obviously if we were 20 years younger, then we would have been processing it ourselves, but we're not. So the tree was cut down and left in place, and then the logs were moved, which was the second time we paid. The moved and stacked, and now Ludo's here having to move them again so he can build the fence that we want. What he's doing is he's cutting them down to size now and then stacking them in this back garden, which is great. It's a job he would have needed to have done anyway for us. Anything that he's doing for us in the garden is a bonus. So, yeah, but it's going to be pretty costly wood by the time we come to burn it. Much cheaper for us to buy it, I think, from our supplier. I'm meant to be I am keeping my eye on the fire. It's not going very well today. The temperature when I opened up to, because Ludo was coming, was -3, and the wind chill, there was quite a bit of a breeze out there, was -6 with wind chill, which is nothing compared to what's going on, I think, with that storm in the States. So I'm not complaining, but it's not very warm in here. It's 18.3. That's because the fire's not been going very well, but it is coming up. I am currently looking at YouTube and getting inspiration on how to make my pan-fried spring rolls this morning. I've got the rice galettes, and I've got, what I tend to do is I will look at a recipe and then I will see what I've got and adapt the recipe to fit what I've got. And I do a lot of cooking that way. It's like the curry I made the other day is made from scratch, and somebody yesterday asked me for the recipe, and I have to really think to write the recipe if I write it down, because I don't write stuff down. I make a curry base with garlic and ginger and spices and things, and I just realised I'd forgotten to tell her about cloves. I said I'm just not used to writing it down. So so I got a whole raft of spices that I can go to, and what I tend to do is I am inspired by stuff. So I'll look at something and think, oh, I can make that. I've got that. I can use that. Or what have I got? So I've got in the fridge, I've got some chicken, which I will cook and then mince up. I've got a little bit of saucisson, which I'll mince up. I've got bean sprouts. I've got Brussels, which I can shred, and I'll put green beans in, and I've got peas, and I've got the garlic that I bought the other day, the frozen garlic. So I've got lots of stuff that I can put inside. It's years since I've done not deep fried because I haven't got a deep fryer, but fried spring rolls. I don't know how many I'll make with what I've got. I don't know what I'm going to serve it with, but that's going to be today's dinner. We went out for lunch yesterday with our neighbour. Interesting conversations going on there. There was a conversation about the French Macron's been making changes to his cabinet, and there were some new appointees, and one of them was the Minister for Culture, who comes from Arab descent. Arab descent. See, I got confused now about what would we say in the UK? Egyptian, maybe? Arab? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, there was a bit of a conversation about whether, with that sort of background, she would be suitable to be in charge of French culture, which I was a bit shocked by, because she was born in France, so she's French. It brings up lots of questions I can't go into here, because I think my neighbour watches this, but it was an interesting conversation. And there was something else I was going to talk about. I'm going to pause for a minute whilst I sort that fire out and think about what the other thing was I was going to talk about. I've remembered now. It was the sub-postmasters thing in the UK. We watched the drama. I had known about it over the years. I hadn't realised that it hadn't been resolved. I was quite shocked that, some of it had, but they were still fighting their convictions and still fighting for compensation. And it's quite shocking to see that the dramatisation of it has sort of launched the public into what's the word? Fighting for justice, because they don't normally, and yet here they are. It's brought everybody up in arms, petitions being signed, going round, and the CEO having to, or deciding that she would, even though that she was being, there was a petition about it, handing back her CBE. It's fascinating seeing the public get behind something, and it's so sad to think that this went on for so long, and that the sub-postmasters were found guilty of theft, when anybody in their right mind would see that these people have not had any problems being sub-postmasters or any problems with balancing their books until we brought in a new system, the one common denominator, and just denying it and denying it and denying it. It's shocking. And people lost their lives. People took their lives, and one woman who was used in the drama, and maybe more, but ended up having, I think she said she had 12 sessions, 12 courses of ECT. Absolutely awful. So she says that she doesn't have any memories of childhood now. Horrible. So yeah, that was the other thing that was on my mind. Pompey's just came for their annual, well, they haven't been for years actually. It was quite a bit of a shock. Giving you the calendar, and you give them some money, and because our firemen are volunteers, I think I don't know what it is. It's just I don't know what they use the money for. I don't know. It's not to fund the fire service. I know that. But yeah, so they've just been, and that's it really. Fire's beginning to go finally. And I'm going to go and carry on sorting out now. I've got some inspiration and had a look online at various examples of fried spring rolls. I'm going to go and cook the chicken and start preparing for lunch. That's interesting. I'm just looking and thinking I can't actually see very well. I can't see very well when I'm talking to you. That's because I've got these, I want to call them No More Tears, but that's a shampoo, isn't it, for kids, or used to be. What are they called? Artificial tears, because I get dry eyes. But when I get the artificial tears in, it mucks about with my focus. Anyway, enough of that. Take care. I hope you're warm. I think we'll be warmer eventually, and see you eventually this weekend sometime.